Are you thinking about installing an electric vehicle EV charger on your business or retail property? If you own or manage real estate and are considering installing an electric charger, watch this video as I walk through the current math and help you decide whether it's a good investment. Ron from Ronald Rohde Law, and I'm a commercial real estate attorney in Texas. I produce videos on all aspects of buying and operating commercial real estate, in particular industrial. And our goal is really just to help you maximize your return on investment. Lately, there's been a lot of buzz about the huge increase in number and type of electric vehicles available in the US market. Tesla is certainly the industry leader, but a whole slew of competition is bringing EVs to the masses. So regardless of whether you think this represents a 100% replacement for ICE or internal combustion engines, or it's going to stay as a significant percentage of all vehicles, and subsequently vehicles visiting your property in the future. So the question is, how many of these vehicles and when? When is this going to happen? There's an entire new industry with a variety of competitors producing private chargers, right? This is outside of the Tesla supercharger or Tesla network, so compatible with everybody. And they're creating these basically hardware and they're providing installation. And the general economic principle is they sell you the hardware. So you install one of these chargers and then they get you an entry on both Google Maps and different apps like PlugShare. And when people need to charge their electric vehicles, they're going to pull up in the app, they're going to go and navigate to your store, they're going to plug in and charge. So you make revenue from the actual electricity. So you're going to sell it at maybe 35 cents a kilowatt hour, and then you're going to purchase your electricity for something cheaper, so maybe 13 or 15 cents. And basically, so you make a little bit of margin on the actual charging, but the main draw for commercial real estate owners is bringing more customers to your property. And so this is an amenity that draws eyes and is desirable for tenants in a variety of ways. And so primarily it's going to be for retail, shopping centers, dining, maybe less so, or for some degree apartments and people that are parking their cars there, and they may not have a charger at work, so you can offer a charging at, say, an apartment complex for multifamily. To a lesser degree, you can still offer it as a perk in other office or industrial. Anywhere where people are working, it is a perk to the tenants to have, say, like a level 2 charger where they can charge while they're parked there during the day and working. So that's the general economic concept. I'm going to walk through a few common options from the big three. So there's like a charge point, there's EV Passport, and ZEF. I'm just going to run through, real quickly kind of what their options are and give you a good idea of how much does this actually cost, plus a little bit of variable for your locality. I know California has some different grants. There's other programs. They have higher construction installation costs, but ultimately, to give you a sense of how long is the payback period and what questions do I need to ask myself as a property owner, is installing an electric vehicle charger a good decision for me? All right, let's go. So, thinking about that concept that I just described, it's really similar to gas stations. The gas station model, they don't make a ton of profit. Yes, they do make some money on selling gas, but it's very minimal. Primary value is getting turnover and getting foot traffic into your location where the people will come inside, buy a Coke, buy a hot dog, pick up beer, whatever it is. That is a much higher margin per visitor than the gas. So they may only make a few dollars on the gas, and they can easily make $5-6 in profit when they come into the convenience store to purchase something. Again, similar analogy here, except the major difference is that gas station fill-ups are a lot shorter time period, and so the time spent shopping is a lot less. So they really rely on turnover versus as a commercial real estate owner, you should be looking at uses that are much longer. So again, this is going to be something like dining. This is going to be extended shopping. You don't need people to come in maybe for like 15 minutes. If your model does have very short turnovers, you're going to require something called like level 3 or DC charging, which is the fastest. Coincidentally, it's the most expensive to install. And so we'll look at some of these prices, but I mean, look at this. It's like $40,000, $30,000 to install one charger. This is one charger. Obviously, your incremental costs go down if you have two side by side, but we're still talking like a really significant investment that if we look at some of these calculators here, you can have a utilization rate of maybe anywhere from 10 to 70% of the 24 hours in a day. Let's say we take a very conservative. Let's say it's only utilized for 10%. You know, that's 2.4 hours a day. You have the price that you charge the customer. Again, you kind of have to compete, but not as much. You have your average cost of electricity. So let's call it, you know, the 35 cents and 13 cents per kilowatt hour. Your revenue is $2.70 for one customer. And this is per day. You have a cost of $1. You make a profit of 22 cents. And it's really not that much, especially if you look at annually. They're talking about $2,360 per year. And then you pay all of your expenses, right? You still kind of have to maintain this and pay for electricity delivery. So your net profit after everything is $1,000 and $129, $1,100 compared to an installation price. So the purchase of a small charger like this would be considered like a level 2, is about $1,500. So you're already in the hole just on the hardware alone. And I think it's a good starting point because you might look at that and say, Ron, well, that's a 12-month payback. That's 14 months and I'm profitable. That doesn't sound so bad because I think the hardware will last. Aha. Well, the problem is that the cost is really captured in the electrician and the permitting to trench and install this electricity over to the location and add to the remote location, right? Because you don't necessarily want to put this directly in the parking lot close to your building where maybe a 240 panel is already located, because then ICE cars will park it. And you know, in the EV community, they call it being iced. So you're iced out and you can't charge your car because a regular car has parked in your charger spot. So a thoughtful design will put your electric vehicle charging far away from the doors. You know, it doesn't have to be on the back of your building, but it should just be very much to the side, not near a main entrance, so that nobody is enticed to park there out of convenience or laziness or spite. But electric vehicles will still be able to see it. You want it to be very visible and they can park there, charge, and then go in. So that means you're going to have distance, and distance costs money, especially when you're talking about trenching up concrete, existing asphalt parking lot, running the line. That is really pretty tremendous. And just for a one data point and time, you know, this was even a few months ago, but you know, I have a property, I have industrial investments, $8,000 just to run that. And I think that was an asphalt, so that wasn't even concrete, but that was $8,000 from the electrician to run that. That is talking like a 5-year payback. And that's really significant when you think that the technology is going to improve. The actual hardware might get outdated, it might break, and then when they come out for a service charge, they're going to charge you another $1,000. It's really just going to keep pushing that profitability, that payback period further and further behind. And so this is a big part of that conversation is, well, the cost is in installation, so you maybe want to have multiple chargers. Okay, that's fine. But you're still only making $1,100 per charger. So how many are you going to install? 2, 4, maybe 8? So that's $8,000 a year. Now you have $8,000 in hardware costs, and then you only have maybe $10,000 or $12,000 in the installation. But you're making a pretty significant investment as well as significant assumption on the usage and the utilization of your clients. Let's talk about another alternative, which is like a level 3 DC charging. You know, if we look at some of these prices, it's mind blowing, right? We're talking $30,000, $40,000 from ChargePoint for a level 3 DC fast charging system, which is great if you have maybe more of a fast casual restaurant where people can come in, like a McDonald's, Quiznos, whatever, and they're going to come in, they just want to use that DC charger because they'll actually be able to get a meaningful charge in 25 minutes, something short that's not like an hour, not like 2 hours of shopping or watching a movie kind of stay. Those get astronomical. I mean, we're just talking about tens of thousands of dollars, and you have shorter charges. The question really becomes, how important is electric vehicle charging to my building, to the overall appeal and the positioning of my shopping center or my retail center in the community? And so, we'll talk a little bit about it later, but really what it comes down to, for you to ask these questions of yourself: are you in an area with a very high electric vehicle uptake? I think that it's certainly noticeable in certain pockets in different areas, wealthier, higher income. They have more electric cars. So if you're in that area where you see a Tesla every single time you go driving, that might be a consideration, a little check on the box in favor of installing these. Another consideration is, what are your tenants? Are you looking for, have tenants asked you about electric charging? Because if they have, I think that they're representing the thought process there you're already conducting is, oh, a lot of these clients would visit if we had a charger. And so again, as an owner, that's a decision for you to make and help your tenants. Perhaps some of these costs could be up to a vote, or you could just pass it on to all of them. I think as a lawyer, that's a little bit tough. Under most triple net wording, this would be considered a capital expenditure. It's an improvement. It's really not an expense on any way that could be passed on to the tenants. But send me a copy of your lease and I'll be happy to analyze that for you. But so the questions for the electric vehicle, right? It's not really profitable. It's not a great investment just on the money alone. It's going to be, is this something that your tenants want? If you're building a brand new multifamily, I think you have to put in a couple level 2 chargers. Those are cheaper. If you can do it at the new construction, the installation costs are lower, and it's a nice amenity for a Class A kind of a luxury multifamily property. I think people now almost expect some chargers, or they're pleasantly surprised, not surprised, but it's a nice to have on a new construction Class A multifamily. The other is, if you want to indicate to the world, if you're spending money on LEED, that's the LEED Green Building Certification. If you're building an office and you're spending money on LEED, I think it's natural. You almost have to do it because it's consistent with that brand image. The image that you want to portray to the world is, this building is eco-friendly and we want to support electric vehicles. We want to, have that value where your tenants will value a LEED certified building, right? Gold or silver or platinum. They may also be electric vehicle drivers. And so I think you have a higher uptake on electric vehicle drivers in the tenants who pay a little bit more to be a tenant in a LEED certified building. So again, these are all the questions that you have to ask yourself. Is that something that I want to convey? And at the end, the final decision is, does this drive traffic to my location that they spend more money and my tenants make more money so that they can pay me more rent? And that's kind of the only way that it makes sense. You have to really discouple the charging profit from the cost, especially the installation cost. That's a one-time fee, but we don't really know what the future looks like. Does that really move the needle for your tenants and for the tenants' customers? That's it for this video. So in conclusion, you've got to look at those couple of factors. I'm happy to share more of the details of the pricing. I have these different quotes. These are for properties that I have. And I think it's really interesting if you are looking at it, run the numbers, figure out the optimal location, the placement, and the number of chargers and the type of charging. But it could definitely add something to your center and make it unique. Otherwise, smash that like button. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment if you have any more questions. Otherwise, subscribe for more commercial real estate content, and we'll see you next time.